Hey there, Simon here from AQ Outdoors, just checking in with a first thoughts review on the new NRS Slipstream 139 Deluxe Raft Fishing package. The Slipstream series of rafts has been around for a while now, though this year NRS have fully redesigned the boat, and a group of us were fortunate enough to try out this first demo model and wanted to report on our initial findings and thoughts on the boat. For context, we used the Slipstream 139 Deluxe package on a 3-day raft trip on the Kootenay River, which is a couple of hours west of Calgary here in Alberta in Canada. For the trip we had pretty low water levels, and it's mainly a Class 1 float with a couple of splashy kind of Class 2 rapids along the way. There's a crew of 8 of us. We had 3 rafts, a couple of kayaks and a sup or 2 as well for good measure. For this trip, we kind of wanted to see how the raft performed with not too much gear in it, which allowed there to be a guide and 2 anglers in there. So the other 2 rafts on the trip carried the lion's share of the gear. Out of the box, the Slipstream is a slick looking setup. It has clean lines, well thought out grab handle placement, and most noticeably it's very clean, minimal items that would encourage line tangle and such. One of the most noticeable components we thought was the floor valve has a Velcro closure over the top of it to ensure it doesn't become a snag hazard. Very important features we think for a boat that's touted to be a game changer for raft anglers and fishing guides. Having raft guided and done many multi-day raft trips over the last 20 plus years, the high pressure floor was the most notable difference from a traditional raft. Secondly, the low rocker and lower volume tubes gave this nearly 14-foot boat quite a different look from many other rafts I've used in the past. The aesthetic and boat design is really nice, in my humble opinion, and the colour scheme on the model we had fit the vibe of raft-based angling. The frame is a sight to behold. Spoiler alert, you're going to want to carve out a bit of time to set this up if you do wind up buying one. It's ultra well thought out and put together, but does take a minute to assemble. The key features for the frame for me is the ability to comfortably seat 2 anglers and a guide. The internally housed anchor system is really well placed, easy to use, and ensures anglers have no real risk of tangling their line in the anchor line. The deluxe frame we were using has 2 awesome rod holders which protect expensive fly rods from being crushed and broken. And lastly, the frame joins are housed so there's less likelihood of line snag. In a nutshell, the frame is, in my experience to date, thoughtfully put together with raft fly anglers of all levels in mind. As someone who's rowed, paddle guided, been a raft guide on many commercial raft fishing trips, I emphasize raft guide on these trips, a pro angler I am not. I have a pretty wide-ranging experience around how rafts paddle and feel. The main thing I noticed with the Slipstream 139 was how nimble and fast it felt. The Slipstream was, to be fair, not loaded down, but with 2 anglers, a guide, and a medium-sized dog, the Slipstream was so much faster than the Otter 150 and Otter 140 that accompanied us on the trip. It would also turn on a dime, which was great for positioning anglers. As a side note, I learned a new rafting stroke called the crab stroke, which was a really cool addition to my skill toolbox. You can see the how-to video we put together above. A must check out for raft anglers, but I digress. The high pressure floor made for a stable and easy casting experience, even in bumpy Class 1, Class 2 whitewater. The floor combined with the thigh hooks had anglers feeling bomb-proof whilst fishing standing. The low rocker profile also helped the Slipstream 139 motor through the flatter and slow water sections. The boat just felt like it was skipping along the surface. The included, in the deluxe package, cataract oars and blades are a great accompaniment to this boat. In regards to the rocker and tube size, although this boat would, I think, be quite capable in Class 3 whitewater, it would by no means be a dry ride. With an angler in the front, the bow was certainly splashy even in the Class 2 waves we paddled through. Conversely though, I think if you're looking for a raft that's capable in up to Class 3 and also want to fish lakes and flat water, I've never been in a raft that paddles flat water as well as this Slipstream 139. The high pressure floor, low rocker profile, and smaller tubes ensure minimum drag and less exposure to pesky winds. Honestly, from our 3 days on the water, I'm finding it hard to find many faults in the boat. I think it'd be limited to Class 3 whitewater. If you're doing longer trips and you were going to have 2 anglers and a guide, you'd have very limited packing space. Not enough room for much more than an overnight, I wouldn't think. You'd probably need to have an additional support raft if you wanted to do it in style. In a nutshell, from my perspective, NRS have done an amazing job in building the Slipstream 139. I can only venture to say the 96 and 120 sizes are equally well built and thought out. I've yet to see one in the flesh though. It's pretty cool though that the 96 fits widthwise in a standard sized pickup truck bed. So I guess the key highlights for me: high pressure floor makes for a nimble boat that also makes angling a breeze even in bouncy whitewater. Minimal line snag for a boat with so many features. As a pretty amateur angler, I had no issues with standing or line snag on the trip. Small tubes and low rocker make the boat a rocket ship on slower sections and flat water for a raft. Comfortably fits 2 anglers and a guide for a day trip or a pretty low profile overnight. Rod holders are well positioned and well thought out. The oars and blades are lightweight and feel great in the water. And the internal anchor system is such a no-brainer. And the 1 to 2 mechanical advantage in the deluxe package makes hauling it up with one hand a breeze. Some considerations: the things that make a great flat water and fast moving boat in slow water could become negatives if you were rowing much above class 3 whitewater, and it has limited capacity for multi-day raft trips if you have 2 anglers and a guide. As of 2022, the deluxe package, which we use, comes in at a very reasonable $7,695 Canadian plus tax. The standard setup is $6,495 plus tax. In my opinion, the deluxe, which includes the rod holders, mechanical advantage in the anchor system, and the cataract oars and blades, is well worth the additional expense. There's a ton of value in that package. The trip we had, as you can see from the footage in the video, was amazing. The Slipstream and the 2 otters got us to great campsites, into some beautiful canyons, and although the fishing was rather mediocre because our timing was a few weeks off for the bull trout run, I think we all created some really great memories on this trip. We hope you found this review useful. We'd be stoked to answer any questions you have. Please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you're looking for any of the Slipstream series or more information, we stock them at our Edmonton and Calgary stores and ship them across Canada. You can find out more information at aqoutdoors.com. Thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, we'd be stoked if you gave it a like and maybe even consider subscribing. Cheers and happy paddling.